Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of what we think we're going to be calling the Antidote. I am Shark300, and I'm here with my good friend Sondsol. And we noticed that there was a massive hole, a black hole in leftist advocacy, and that was men. All right. And we're looking to plug that hole. We're looking to seal that gap, flex tape style, with what we would like to call a sort of men's rights, men's advocacy series that we would like to do on dating, life advice, on things pertaining to men, toxic masculinity, how to be comfortable in your masculinity, and how to express yourself as a guy and be the best man that you could be to yourself and to the people around you. And so we decided to hop on and do a little something for you guys. On today's episode, we would really like to talk about a little thing that we would like to call realistic expectations. So what we mean by realistic expectations is that when guys go into the dating world and when lots of people give dating advice and lifestyle advice, how to be a man, masculinity advice, lots of the times they do not give the realistic situations, whether that be in a good way, in a positive way, or a negative way, meaning that they could tell you that everything's going to be great when you go into the dating world, or everything is going to be absolutely terrible when you go into the dating world, and you need to stay away from it as far as possible because women will suck your blood and then play hopscotch with your dead body because they're all succubus and do like this, that, and the third, right?
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
I mean. Sorry. I don't know how serious we need to be here. I'm going to make a little bit.
We don't need to be too serious.
Sometimes it's going to be some jokes, okay? All right? Prepare yourself. This is also going to have some jokes in the podcast, all right? We're going to be super serious, except for when we're not.
Oh,
anyway,
perfect.
Continue.
No, yeah, that's what we plan to do. So hit me up, Sond. What do you think about realistic expectations that guys should have?
Realistic expectations that guys should have. I think that a lot of times there are a lot of things that are intuitive when we go into dating situations that people will either reinforce to a degree that are negative, where you do something that ends up getting you in trouble or making you look weird or something like that, or they are utopian. Right. So people say, this is how the world ought to be. And then they, instead of saying this is how it ought to be, but this is how it is, they'll just say, this is how it ought to be. And that's how it is. Right. So for example, someone might say something like, oh yeah, you are like, yeah, you're a little bit of like a less attractive physically individual, right? But like like go out there, you can ask anybody out, and nobody looks at physical appearance at all, right? There are like everybody, like women only care about personality, or they only care about this aspect or that aspect, right? When it's more complex than that. People care about physical attractiveness, and they care about your personality, and they care about this, and they care about that, right? But people will say that they don't care about this thing at all, and everyone's overhyping that, right? Where in a perfect world, people don't necessarily care just about physical attractiveness, right? But that's not the way that it is, and we should have some sort of like reasonable expectations there, right? And it can lead to people, doing things that get them hurt emotionally because everyone's telling them, hey, look, this right here is like, that will never happen to you, King, all right? We love you, King. And then it ends up making them feel really shitty afterwards, right? So having like reasonable expectations about how to engage with people, how to prepare for a date, what to do during a date, right? That is acceptable. All these things are things that can lead to either negative outcomes or are like presented in a very too positive light.
Yeah, definitely. You know what this kind of reminds me of is when is when people talk about, I don't want to give like a little bit of credence. One thing that I wanted to do in this like first episode is give like a tiny bit, only as a treat, smidgen of credit to like red pillars and red pill thinking, because some of their criticisms, even though sometimes they can be a little hyperbolic and over the edge, some of their criticisms make some sense. So one really big positive thing that I see like people throwing out is that, hey, dog, your looks, they really don't matter, okay? You being 5'4", it doesn't really matter. You look like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. That really doesn't matter. Let me be honest with you, it matters, okay? Women do care about that stuff. They really do. Does that mean that you're going to be like completely loveless and like a height cell for the rest of your life? Absolutely not. But what you should understand is have a realistic expectation that for some people, they will have that standard that if you meet like a 5'11" girl and you're 5'6", and she wants a guy that's taller than her, more likely than not, you're not going to be that guy. You're not that guy, bud. You're just not that guy. And you're not that guy. You're not that guy. And that's okay to not be that guy. Me and Sond, we have different heights. All right. It may not look it, but we are different heights. I'm 5'9", and aren't you like 6'2"?
I'm 6'1". You're adding an inch for me.
It's okay.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you put dress shoes on, you get some dress heels on, you'll get 6'2". There you go. Yeah, we are very different heights. If we stood next to each other, we would look quite differently. But I've had girlfriends before, and I would imagine you've had girlfriends before, right?
I've had several, yes.
Yeah, and there you go. It doesn't mean you're going to be completely loveless, but you should understand that sometimes there are going to be things that that you can't control, that's going to put you out of someone's pool, and that's all right. If you're the type of person, if you think that you're funny and charismatic and you're confident, and you have good looks and you take care of yourself and you have a good job and you have a good car and you have hobbies and you have all of these things, right? But a girl looks at you and she's like, yeah, you're like an inch shorter than me. Nah. Do you really want to be with that person? Like, let's think for a second. If that's the only quality that will completely disregard you from being in her dating pool, is that someone that you really want to be a part of? It sounds to me, instead of you really wanting someone to love you for you want the validation of all women. And I guess we can kind of lead that into men deriving their value from women, if you wanted to talk on that, or you want to talk a little bit more about what I said.
Yeah, just to what you said. Really, there is no one trait that you have that is going to be a turnoff for every single person, whether they're a woman or a man. It doesn't matter if you're gay or straight or anything in between. There is no one trait that's going to be the ultimate turnoff for the people that you want to be with, right? So if you're a dude and you're into women, there's no one trait. Whether you're like if you're 5 foot nothing, right? That's not going to be a turnoff for every single woman in the entire world. If you're, I mean, we can go through any number of traits. If you're like super successful monetarily, if you are like a lot of people are very self-conscious about like the size of their dick. Like it doesn't really matter. No one trait is going to make you undateable, right? Mm-hmm. But very often people will focus on like the reason I don't have a girlfriend is because I am 5'5" and not 5'7", right? And then they'll go to Russia and they'll get like implants into their shins so that they can be 2 inches taller, just so that they can get a girlfriend. But that
it kind of sounds like a good idea.
If you think that that's going to be the thing that gives you the added confidence in order to talk to girls, then like sure, you can do that, right? But you're not doing that just for the height. You're also doing it because it's going to increase your self-confidence, right? It's also going to do a number of other things for you that make it to where you might be able to get a girlfriend. But it's not just the height that's keeping you from getting a girlfriend.
Yeah, like if you get taller or something, or you feel taller, and then so you feel more confident, who knows, you could be taking care of yourself better because you think that you're worth it, and then you could be more confident because you think you can approach people, and then you're like, it was the height, it was like this, it was that, it was like that. No, that one thing opened the door for you to start to do other things, like take care of yourself, like do all of those things that would allow you to be more of an attractive partner.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, and those other things that you have to be able to take care of, like take care of yourself, right? Those are the things that were keeping you from being able to meet that someone, or having that special someone think that you're special, right? So if you like sit around and like mope all day because you're 5'5", right? And you have a shit personality, and you don't want to go outside and feel embarrassed because of your 5'5"ness, right? And you spend all of your time online, and you don't really shower all that much. You don't take care of yourself. You have 3 pairs of clothes, all 3 sets of which are a gray t-shirt and like cargo shorts, right? You have a whole bunch of like holy socks and wear fucking socks and sandals everywhere. It's probably going to be harder for you to find someone that is attracted to you, not because of your height, but because of all the things downstream from that thing that makes you not very confident in yourself in the first place, right?
Yeah, you walk around smelling like ass. Like,
yeah, and
women don't like it when you smell like ass. They just don't. In my personal experience, they don't. All right. The one really big thing, and we could talk about this probably later. One really big thing is like smell. There's lots of women who are very sensitive smell and remember a lot through smells. That's a really big thing. If you're meeting a girl for the first time and you literally smell like shit, you're walking around with like a fucking stink cloud following you. Like a cartoon character, okay? She's probably going to remember. It's like women will remember that, all right? It's up in the top corner, and it's not going to be good.
Even to what you're saying, smell is like the number one sense that people have. It's like the number one sense that brings back memories, right? So like if that's your first impression on someone, you smell really bad and don't really look like you take care of yourself, they're probably going to associate that with you for always, right? That doesn't mean that you have to dress up and look like you're a 1930s mobster all the time, wearing a 3-piece suit plus an overcoat plus a hat.
The fedora makes it.
Because that's equally cringy. But just like, find something that works for you and then go on. But you did say something about men doing a lot of these things just so that they can get a girlfriend. They're like basically moving their personality to suit what they think women want, right? Rather than being themselves and finding someone that likes them for who they truly are, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like love. You don't find love necessarily. Love finds you, but it has to find you working. But not working just for love, working for yourself. Because how are you going to be working with a relationship? Isn't just like something that you do. It's kind of like sometimes a state of being. And if you don't love yourself and you don't take care of yourself already, and you don't have the drive to already be there for yourself, how can you really think that you can be there for another person? It's almost like you're not doing it because you want more. You want to make something already, which isn't going to work. Your relationship needs a good foundation, and that foundation is both of you. And if half of that foundation is broken because the only reason that you're there is for the house to be built on that foundation, it's going to crumble. And that's not good. You want to be working on yourself this entire time. The byproduct of working on yourself should be the relationship. Not you're working to build a relationship. You're working to get a relationship. You're working on yourself to be fit and ready for a relationship. Because if you're not, everything's going to fall apart, and you're going to feel even worse when you like get in and then out of love and in and then out of love, because things fall apart, and you're going to feel even worse about yourself.
I mean, yeah, I don't disagree with any of that. It seems to me that the expectations that guys have are I mean, there's a million things that lend to this, and there's no way for us to be able to cover it in one podcast, and it's very likely going to have to be something that is brought up some other time. But there's so many things that lead us to have unreasonable expectations of the other side of the equation, right? We're only looking at one side of the equation. Why don't women want to date me? Right? So when we're talking about expectations, what do you expect when so I guess here, this is how we should do this. We should start from like meeting someone. How do you expect to meet someone when you're doing XYZ, right? And then once you do meet someone, what do you expect once you start the first date, once you start the relationship, et cetera, et cetera? What do you think about that?
Sure.
So just in terms of like formatting the conversation, because I don't know if you had like a specific place that you wanted to take it.
Sure. One place here. One moment. I'm getting some stuff ready. So just one moment.
Yeah.
No, would I put
just
this?
While you're getting that ready, I'll just say like, yeah. So when I think of like expectations and what men should expect, right? It's both like what you should expect as a consequence of your actions and what you should expect in the situations that you are in, right? So in terms of like the expectations that you should have for, taking care of yourself, like what do you expect other people to think of you if you don't really take care of yourself, if you don't really take care of your life situation, if you don't really take care of, let's say if you're in the relationship, what do you expect if you don't like meet 50% of the way with the other person? What do you expect in all these different situations, right? Or in any of these, what do you expect from the result to be from any of these situations? And then situationally, what do men expect when we're talking about like the first date, or who is going to pay, or who is like if you're walking them back home and they invite you in, what should you expect, right? Like all of these different things based off of social cues and different things like that, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, I got what I was looking for. There's a place that I wanted to take this. So the place that I wanted to take this would be more around, and I'm going to throw this in my, do you have my chat open?
I do.
Here, I'm going to drop this here and you can look at that. So the place where I wanted to take this, listen, lots of guys ask, why don't women want to date me? But I think the better question is, why should women want to date me? All right. So if you can think of yourself, you're like sitting down somewhere, you're doing something somewhere, and you think of yourself, and if you can be in like that third person view, what would stand out about you? What is there about you that someone may like, that someone may like appreciate? Or are you approachable? Do you look like you have like yourself together in any way? Is there something like about you? Is there a quality about you that if you get into a conversation to someone that you could like, or that they could like, something like that, right? And if you don't have an answer for that, you don't have an answer at all, that could be a really big problem. I remember like there was a point in my life I was poised that question, and I sat there and I thought for a while, what do I offer? And for a little bit, I didn't have anything really to say. Now that could be because you have very little self-confidence and you do have something to offer, but you just can't see it. But also sometimes you actually may not. And that's okay. Like that happens in everybody's life. But to get there, I think would be bad for you and your partner to get into a relationship if you don't have if you don't have something to offer. And lots of guys think about what that thing they could offer could be, and what makes them like an ideal partner. And a lot of guys have like a lot of really weird conceptions about women and what they want out of that. So in this study that I linked to you, do you have it?
Mm-hmm. I have it open right now.
Great. Amazing. So this is the ideal partner survey, and the ideal partner survey is really interesting because it asked thousands, I think about 10,000 women, about what they find attractive in a partner and what makes them an ideal partner. It asks men and women, but we don't care about what the men think. Isn't that right, boys? We care about what the women want. And so this was actually really interesting because, it was actually really interesting because lots of women, they had different categories to choose from what they liked in long-term partnerships. And I would imagine, listen, we can talk about one night stands and everything and getting a bunch of girls' numbers or in their bed. But I think what many guys are looking for more than anything else is a long-term relationship. And so in the survey, there are 5 groups that women could pick that they think is like most attractive, what they're looking for in a long-term partner. And there was kindness, supportiveness, confidence, intelligence, and education. And there were others as well, but ambition, financial security, attractive face, assertiveness, and attractive body were least likely to be chosen as important metrics. But things like kindness, supportiveness, intelligence, education, and confidence, with none of those getting below 60% of women finding those as the most important or very important traits in men. It kind of shows you more that they're what we think of what women want typically being like your assertiveness, or like you being really attractive, or having a lot of money, or being even like the most ambitious. You don't have to be all of those things, but women kind of value other things in their long-term partnership. What do you think about that?
This is interesting. And it's kind of tracks on to what I would kind of intuitively think, especially in terms of like a long-term relationship, people seeking out, kindness, supportiveness, confidence, intelligence, education, those being like the number one thing that they would say is most important to them, especially kindness being like head and shoulders above even supportiveness is pretty interesting. And it goes to show that a lot of these ideas that people say, like women they only like assholes, they only like the piece of shit like bad boy type, and it's like, no, they don't really, like maybe a little bit, but in terms of people that they want to be in a relationship with, this is what they're looking for. I'm just like looking at the graphs here, very interesting.
Yeah, it's super interesting. And the thing, even to like the asshole point, she doesn't like him because he's a piece of shit. She likes him usually in spite of him being a piece of shit. She typically knows women typically aren't that dumb. They are human beings, and they're pretty smart. So there could be something in him that she appreciates, or it could be like the I can fix him mentality. It's not because he's like a dick. All right. Usually what happens when you are a dick, you have a really bloated self ego and self image. And so that could lead you to having more confidence than someone who could know their limitations, or think that they know their limitations and put it way further than they actually are, and be more of a shy type of person. I mean, you can be like, oh, I don't get girls don't talk to me. Well, did you try? No. Like, you saw her, and then you went through the idea of talking to her in your head, but you like never did. And then you're like, it's like you see a girl and she's cute and you want to talk to her, but it's like the fucking double Dutch. Okay, you're like sitting there and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna and you never go. Yeah. And you never go, and you never do, and then she walks away and you're like, damn it. But the thing is, the guy with like the massive bloated self-ego, he just wouldn't give a shit if he's bothering her. He walks up, and instead of it being like, oh, am I bothering her? Am I wasting her time? Is like, I need to be in this woman's life, and she deserves me. I deserve not only a second of her time, I deserve her full unbridled attention, because I'm just like that. And you can have like a little bit of that and be like normal, but people like that, that's typically what it is, and it comes off as being like super confident in yourself and maybe even charming in the moment, but in a long-term relationship that facade falls apart, and the problems that guy has becomes a lot more evident. And that's why things like kindness and supportiveness are always above even confidence.
Shark.
Yeah.
Pog.
So I'm sorry, I see all these graphs, I get super interested. I'm gonna have to like minimize it for a second until it becomes relevant again. So when we're talking about this, and we're talking about expectations, right? I feel like it's sad to have to point out to people, right? But it is kind of the way that the world works, especially with the way that the internet is kind of messed with everyone's brains, that we have to show like scientific studies to show that women actually are human beings that care about human being things like kindness and supportiveness. And
I have to pull up right? like 10 graphs to show that women are human beings to break through.
Yeah. But this is kind of the thing, like expectations have always been kind of wonky between like what men think women want, right? There's always been a disparity there, right? I kind of talked about this earlier today on my stream, right? People were showing me Coach Red Pill videos because I had never watched one. I'd never had the misfortune of watching one before. And when we talk about like the attractiveness scale, right? People don't find people or things attractive, like features attractive in the way that you would think. And it's not universal to one gender or the next. So like, for example, my current girlfriend, right? She has this thing where it's like, I call it the Flanders to Nosferatu scale, right? Where it feels like she finds like middle-aged dads attractive, right? So that's like the Flanders side of the scale. But then she finds Nosferatu or people that look like Marilyn Manson pretty attractive as well, right? So somewhere on that scale is where I land, and I probably land closer to the Flanders side, right? But that scale doesn't really track on to what men expect women to find attractive, right? Just in terms of like physical appearance, right?
Mm-hmm. And so, I think that could be a really big thing because men think about what women want not through like what they've been told about the experiences of women or what women have said about their own experience. Typically we think about what women want through like a men's lens. So it's like, oh, when you're like trying to make moves on a girl, when you're trying to show her that you're like based and breedable, you're fertile and strong. What do? We pick up six folding chairs at gym. You know, we
gotta impress the girls by picking up all the folding chairs and no, I'm going to move the table. No, I'm going to move the table.
And I can do it by myself.
Tables.
Yeah, by myself, carrying them on each arm, right? That's what we do. We try and look very big, like have broad shoulders, you know, have like a chiseled jawline or something. That's what we think. We typically think in the form of like being, you know, I could break a rock with my fist and I'm tall and I'm big and that's the physical attraction like lens that we look through, because a lot of guys, let's be honest, we think of girls and the first thing we think of is wow, booba, wow, ass, you know? And so we think of that physical attractive thing. And while once again, women do care about physical attractiveness, that is still a big thing to them. All right. And here's the thing. Studies have shown that women kind of underestimate how much looks matter to them. This is true. But that doesn't mean that looks are like the end all be all. As we've seen there in the study, that those things matter less. It doesn't mean they don't matter at all. Women care less about physical attractiveness than guys do. We typically care a lot about physical attractiveness, and a lot of us guys will date and hang out with a girl, like go back to a girl's house. She'll be like banging. She has like great fucking breedable hips. She's like super hot, super cute. All right. She laughs at all of our jokes. And she listens when we go on a dumbass rant about an anime that we watched or a game that we played or this cool rock that we found, or when me and my friends threw a CRT TV off of a cliff in his friend's backyard. Okay, and then we go back to her house. And she's in her none of her shit's together, doesn't have a fucking job, carpet's covered in dog piss and shit, like Smirnoff bottles strewn across the floor, trash is everywhere. You hop into her car and she's like, you can just move that over. You can't move it over because the fucking bottom of the floor of the car looks like a damn landfill. Or so you just step in and you're crunching and you're squishing and your ass is a little bit wet. You're not sure what it is. All right. And you look all over right past that because she's cute. Lots of women don't do the same. And I feel like that expectation comes from us not thinking about...
Is this personal? Like, that was like really hyper specific. I feel like that was a personal experience you had.
We make mistakes. All right. We make mistakes. Okay. We make mistakes. Anyways, without self-reporting too hard.
Listen, I've already told the story about me like dating the homeless girl. All right.
Yes.
So, yes. So, but yeah, no, there's definitely like a disparity in the kinds of things that and again, this is a descriptive statement about the world as it is right now, not necessarily the way that the to be, right? Or like what a utopian society ought to look like, or what we ought to strive for, right? But it is a way that the world kind of works, right? There are social expectations that that are kind of there for women to have for men, right? And there are societal expectations that men have for women. Some of it might be biological, some of it might be human constructed, right? But the expectations are still there, and we have to deal with them insofar as, you know, we live in the current age that we do. So when, like, given Shark's example here, when we're talking about, you know, we tell them all about like a cool rock that we found in CRT TV that we threw off a cliff, right? And then we go to their house and it's like covered in cat and dog piss and shit, and there's fucking Monster and Smirnoff cans everywhere. And then we get in their car and our butts are wet, right? Yeah, generally speaking, guys will look past that, thinking
And look
that
past like a moderately attractive girl who has like all of the like human qualities that we want for like a more attractive girl for that has like almost none.
Yeah, and so like I guess what I would say to that is, while that might be a descriptive claim that we can make about the world, what I would then say on top of that is, while you can expect for these sort of things to happen, right? Like even to yourself, like if you find yourself in that situation where you can't, or maybe we're telling you this right now and you're like, holy shit, that is my girlfriend. My girlfriend is the one with the monster cans and the dog shit everywhere, right? Like, it doesn't mean that that person is a bad person. It's just like, okay, well, this is what we're valuing right now, right? And is that a good thing or a bad thing, right? And is this like a good thing for me or a bad thing for me?
It's not bad if you can fix her. Obviously, you can fix her.
That's another topic for another episode.
You can fix her, King. Just stick in there, and you'll she'll change for you overnight, and it's gonna be great. You'll mold her into the perfect girlfriend.
Bad
it's
wife.
gonna be amazing. Yep, the turn wife. No, yeah, it's yeah. No, definitely. One thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think it's important also to expect that while these things matter, you can still like overcome them. Like, to your point, there are lots of things that go into what someone thinks of and what they would like in a long-term relationship. And if you're lacking in one area, you can make up for another area. And sometimes that like lack may not be like a big lack, but if you think that height is like your lack, one thing that you could do is like dress really nice, and that could be like a really big thing. I'm telling you guys, if you dress like slightly better than you are now, lots of women will be like, ooh, wow, whoa, you'll instantly stand out. No matter like what your height is, you'll instantly stand out amongst the crowd of like basketball short wearing like stained white Hanes white tee dudes with like messy hair and chapped lips. You will stand out, I promise you, and they will remember that.
Just as a personal anecdote, just for something that I have personally experienced, right? So and this is like a little bit sad, but we'll bring it back up immediately afterward, I promise, because this doesn't like affect me anymore. But I had a girlfriend at one time, right, where we broke up, right? And one of the reasons was I wasn't really taking care of myself. I was young and dumb and just kind of gliding through the relationship. I didn't really take care of myself all that much. I had like 3 pairs of jeans and all of them had like massive holes in the crotch and shit, right? And when she broke up with me, one of the things that she said to me, and she was trying to be mean, to be fair, she was trying to be mean, but she was right, in that she like pointed out that I had like 3 sets of clothes, right? And all 3 of those sets of clothes involved jeans that had holes in the crotch, right? And the same 3 flannels over and over again. I had 1 pair of shoes, right? Because I wasn't.
Holy crap! You're walking around like Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide.
Yeah, like literally. And I took that insult. Like any time, this is not necessarily having to do with dating, but anytime someone insults you, you can usually find like a grain of truth in there somewhere, especially if there's like a lot of people telling you the same insult. So when I took that to heart, and I, went out and I fucking bought myself some fucking clothes, and I started dressing nicer, and I started caring about my appearance and keeping my beard trimmed to an appropriate length. And, you know, people stopped looking at me like a loser all the time. And people stopped looking, and more girls were willing to talk to me, and more people were like interested in that sort of thing with me, right? And all it took, right, was simply giving a fuck, right? And not gliding through. There is some effort that is needed on your end of the equation, right?
Mm-hmm. And remember, 6'1" Chad Soul, all right? He got broken up with because he smelled like shit. Okay. Yeah. I mean, and that happens. Listen, like I said, it isn't just one thing. It's not just because of his height. I promise you, some girls, they do like the height, but it's really not everything. I promise you that. One thing that I want to get into, all right, and this is going to be a little bit more of a touchy subject, but abusive women. Okay. You hear this a lot in like MGTOW and like red pill spaces. Lots of dudes talking about how abusive women can be. Now, there's a reason why I say when I go on Tinder dates, I bring 2 knives. The first one is for protection and the second one is for backup, just in case. Women can be dangerous. They really can be. They can be scary. And that's why I need to bring 2 knives. I'm even thinking like moving into the pandemic, some people are desperate and I'm going to start dating again. I need to bring like 4 or something and then pull them out like fucking General Grievous. And if I have to protect myself against some crazy bitch, it's gonna have to be that way. But the thing is,
one's a throwing knife in case you need range. You know, one is a Swiss Army knife in case you have to do some survival shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if the door is locked, but it's one of those like weird key locks, it has to have that like special like flat key. That's what the flathead on the Swiss Army knife is for. If she locks you in a room, that's important. What do you mean, huh? Yes, I bring 2. That's not a joke. That's not a meme. Knives? Yes, I bring 2 knives. Yes, well, listen, none of my Tinder dates are ever gonna see this, so that's good. Well, hopefully they'll see it like after we're dating, and then she'll be like, oh, okay. That's what's in his pocket.
That was that bulge in your pocket. Got it. Okay. You weren't lying.
I was not lying. No, girl, it's just one of my knives. But the thing, like, there are abusive women out there. Absolutely. And they absolutely suck. One thing that you hear from a lot of these people, red pillars, is that if you tell a girl anything like emotionally sensitive, that she will use it against you at like some point in time. And the thing is, sometimes that's true. Sometimes if you do tell a girl something, some women will understand that that's a really sensitive thing for guys. Lots of guys don't open up about their emotions. And so to do that, and men typically don't have friends that they feel comfortable with opening up about their emotions with. So whether that be you in a relationship or a marriage, studies have shown that men, the first person they go to when it comes to them wanting to vent, them wanting to talk about like their emotional state, it's either their girlfriend or their wife. That is the first person, typically. And so you can do that. And if you're with a bad girl, the thing is, she will, more likely than not, use it against you. That will happen if something goes wrong. That will happen. But the thing is, guys do this as well. Guys will like talk all sorts of shit. Guys will give out all sorts of secrets that their girls have told them. This happens. But the thing is, that's not a issue that you have with women. That's an issue that you have with people. Okay. And in this discussion, we're not going to talk about you getting away from dating people. That's illegal. Fuck off.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was about to, you brought around at the end what I was going to say. Like, this isn't like something that you can expect to happen often, right? I don't think that most people are like super abusive, but being able to recognize when someone is being manipulative is like a really important thing. So some people will use things against you, right? Just in terms of when we're talking about talking and like having your emotions be like you bring your emotions to like your girlfriend or your wife. I think that one thing, and this isn't like to have it as a fail safe or anything like that. I would say that it's probably important to have more than one person that you're willing to talk to about like deeper subjects. One complaint that women often have, right? And I think that this is a legitimate criticism because I've been on the receiving end of this with a girl that I dated one time, where people will use their partners as a free therapist, right? And so you want to like strike a good balance between making someone that you're dating into like your therapist 24/7 on call, and having them as your partner, right? Because you shouldn't really be hiding anything from your partner, but you don't want them to feel like you're using them for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably good to have healthy relationships, not just with the person that you're in a like romantic relationship with, but also with like your friends, right? Like I have my roommate back here. I'll talk to him just about anything because he usually gives me good insights. There are other friends that I have that I would be willing to talk about really sensitive subjects with. You don't have to hold those emotions, and those things are only for this one individual, right? Like your girlfriend doesn't have to be the sole arbiter of your emotional state, right? Because there are other things that person wants, right? That person also wants you to be there for them when they have like emotional crises. They also want to be able to have fun with you and like experience like romantic feelings and not just like have you dump negative emotions on them all the time, right? So in addition to like being able to recognize when someone's going to try and use those things against you, right? Also being able to recognize when you're taking it a step too far with them, especially early on, fellas. All right? Hey fellas, especially early on. All right? You don't want to be like telling them your entire life's sob story on the first date. All right, fellas? But yeah, being able to have like a good, healthy relationship with like your roommate or your like online friends or anyone like that would be that's one way to get around that, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's all true. At the end of the day, you should understand that there are going to be bad people out there. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't let some bad actions from some of your past partners drag into newer relationships, because that's going to destroy like your newer relationship with a person who could actually just be great for you, and you're going to ruin something good that you could have because you're just dragging that trauma to the next to the next discussion, which can be like really, really bad for all of you actually. And I kind of want to touch on something. So let's talk about compatibility a little bit, because I feel like this could be a decent segue. So when it comes to like compatibility, what guys are looking for. So what do you when you're looking for a partner, when it comes to compatibility, what are you thinking of?
For me, and I think that this is probably going to be one of the most subjective things that you could possibly talk about. But maybe not. Maybe I'll like change my position on that as we talk about it. But for me, I don't subscribe to the idea that you want to be able to like share all of the same hobbies and things as your partner, right? I actually like the fact that my girlfriend likes different things than me. There are things that we can both enjoy that the other person enjoys, right? So like I like anime. She doesn't really like anime or dislike anime, but she'll sit there and she'll watch it with me because she knows I enjoy it, right? She likes watching lots of true crime things. Some true crime things kind of skeeve me out, but I'll sit there and I'll watch some like weird thing about a cult that was like ripping people's eyeballs out and shoving up their butts. I don't know what cults
I don't
do,
like that.
but,
I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I don't like that either. But I'll sit there and like it's not like so bad that I can't watch it with her. It's kind of interesting. I like watching history. So we all have things that we can find an aspect of something that someone else likes and say, oh yeah, no, I like that aspect of it too. So with the true crime stuff, I'm like, well, I really like history, right? And I can learn about like some other historical aspects through like the true crime. Don't really care much for like learning about BTK himself, but knowing what everybody's reaction was at that time culturally is really interesting to me, right? So one of the things that I look for, right, is, having just enough in common, but not so much that we're the exact same person, just enough in common that you get something new out of the relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
like probably one of the biggest ones for me.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's a really great idea to talk about how you guys don't have to listen or like the same exact things. I've dated girls who like crazy shit. All right. And I'm not even talking I mean, they're absolutely infatuated with. I personally, listen, I don't have any super strong feelings for like K-pop or anything, right? But I had a relationship with a girl who like really really liked K-pop, and I think, and while even though I wasn't necessarily into it, I went to a BTS movie, and I sat there and I was like, I have no clue what they're saying and I have no clue what's going on, but she was bouncing in her seat and she was having fun. So that's good. The thing is, I think when a lot of guys, they go into relationships, they expect an expectation would be like, oh, compatibility. That means she's going to love all the anime that I love and she's going to do all the things that we like. And that leads you to looking to, when you ask girls, and you hear a lot of girls talk about how it's like really annoying. They're going to ask girls if they like just their hobbies, which can be really annoying because instead of asking what they enjoy about them, you're just asking to see if they're just like you. All right. And I know people sometimes tell you to fuck yourself, but
bro, not for a girlfriend.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's going to be in the discussion when we talk about like getting friends in another session. You're looking for a friend there, not like a not like a partner. And your partner can be like one of your best friends, but at the same time, they don't have to like the same things that you do. Let them do their own thing, and you can do your own thing, and that's fine. You're not, one thing that you're looking for with compatibility isn't you like the same things, but respect. You respect the things that they do, unless the things that they do is fucking crazy, and then we may be able to wean them off of that. But if I like bugs, okay, I love me some bugs. I remember in one of my last relationships, she was like, "What if we move in together?" I'm like, "If we move in together, I'm gonna need a room for my bugs." Like, I'm sorry. Like I was on the track to have like a pretty decent job, and I like my bugs and I want to collect bugs, and I think they're super cool and super shiny. And so
I vaguely remember you talking about a bug collection sometime a long time ago, but I feel like I completely wiped it from my memory for my sanity's sake because I really don't like bugs. Do you have a big bug collection right now?
I don't have a bug collection right now. I used to have a bug collection.
Okay.
I used to collect spiders around the neighborhood. And I was really liked in the neighborhood, so I would like go around with like little Jello cups, and then I would like cup some spiders and be like, "You're mine, boy," and I'd keep them in the little Jello cups, and I'd be like, "Look at my collection." But no, I thought it'd be really cool to keep bugs. And she hated bugs. That's why I was like, we have to come to a compromise, okay? If the room is going to be filled with Funko Pops because she loved Funko Pops, then I need my room for the bugs, and that's compatibility if we're both willing to compromise on that. Not because I love the Funko Pops and she learned to love the bugs, but because we learned how to respect each other and the things that we enjoyed. So one thing that I remember that I heard from girls is that guys, when they do that, they typically don't listen to the women when they're talking. They just want to hear that they're like just like them, and that's what they're looking for. And so that leads them to not listen to the girls a lot. And I know a lot of women, if we ask them, feel like they've been on many dates where they haven't felt like they've been listened to at all. And I remember this one girl, she said that at the end of dates, she started asking her date 3 things about her, and a lot of them came up completely empty, which is sad because there are women who are very interesting. Not all women are very interesting. I was on a date with a horse girl, and then I was scared. Okay, so, so yeah, I didn't know that she was a horse girl. She like sprung that on me. It was really unfortunate. Basically, she violated my informed consent there, but. I sat in the car with a horse girl. I drove her places. But no, like it's. Sorry. Thank you, please. And that sucks. There's lots of really interesting girls out there, and you want to learn how to deal with people who are similar to you, because your partner should be like similar, but not the same. I don't even think
Yeah,
you want
yeah,
a partner
exactly.
that's the same thing as you.
No, well, I mean, some people might be like super narcissistic and want to fuck themselves, but I feel like most people aren't like that. And I feel like one of the good things about finding someone that has similar but not identical interests is like number one, you can find a new appreciation for something that you might not otherwise have liked. But like honestly, let me be like super real with you. Those things that you don't really have in common in terms of like shows that you like or like types of things, like you like comics but she only likes animes or some shit like that. If you're like an epic gamer bro, right? Maybe you are like computer, like a PC master race, and she likes Nintendo, right? You a lot of the time you will be able to look past that very easily. Especially if you like go on like your first date and you're like, oh man, fucking cringe ass Nintendo player. I bet you she likes Animal Crossing, disgusting, right? Some shit like that,
Hmm.
right? Which that would be the wrong opinion to have
Yeah,
because
she
Nintendo
plays.
is best.
Yeah,
But
loser girl. She only plays Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing. Yikes.
yeah, please, play like get Diamond in League, and then we'll start talking. All right, baby. But like those things kind of fade out of your mind pretty quickly, um, and they become just aspects of something more that you really enjoy, right? So, like, say you really hate Nintendo,
Shark
you won't care about
time.
Nintendo anymore because it's someone you're in a relationship with someone that you love, right? You enjoy seeing them happy. So you start, being able to enjoy the things that they do, right? So you don't have to 100% line up with every single like interest that they have. You guys will like find all the things that you both enjoy through the course of the relationship, right?
Hmm. Yeah, and definitely. I mean, because I dated someone who liked much different music than I do. That's the reason I have this Hone
Hey,
poster.
listen, every single girl I've ever dated has liked some fucking crazy music. All right.
And women in their music, I swear. But yeah, because I dated a girl who had much different music taste than me, that's the reason I have this Hone poster. I went to go see a band that I never thought that I'd go see a band, period, like a band's music, period. But here I was in the crowd, like and on a band, in the crowd of a band that was pretty underground. Lots of people haven't heard of them, and I really enjoyed their music. And I was there, and I got a signed poster, and I got to meet the bandmates, the banders, the bandoids. And it was a great experience, and I get a lot of comments on the Hone poster now. The only reason that I went was because of a relationship and because of meeting a partner that liked different things than me. But was there
Can
anything
I,
else that you wanted to say on this?
Yeah, just like it's something that you just reminded me of. There are things that you need to be able to do things. Um, and by that I mean this was like one of the major issues that I had before my current girlfriend, right? And even still now, like I'm very much a homebody. I like staying at home. I like sitting around and watching like TV shows together and just kind of for me the amount of like intimate close time that I need um, can be given through like being alone together, if you understand that concept, like doing two separate things in the same room, like you're
Mm-hmm.
both doing different things, but right, like that can be fine for me, right? But one of the things that I was not quite aware of before I kind of matured was not everyone is okay with that level of interaction or okay with that level of just like staying home all the time, right? Um, so I had to learn over the course of my last relationship and over this relationship um, how to find things to do in my city, right? I don't like going out really necessarily. Like it's fun, but finding events, right? Like fun little things to go do, finding concerts to go to, finding um uh there's always something new going, especially if you live in like a large city. There's all sorts of fun things that you can do, fun dates that you can take people on. Look online for date ideas, right? Like there was a really cool date idea that I saw, right, where the guy just asked the girl, "Hey, pick a number between 7 and 17, right?" And she guessed 9, right? And so he came and picked her up, and he took her to Goodwill, and he said, "All right, here's $9 for you, right? You have to buy me a full outfit with these $9, right? And I'm going to buy you an outfit with $9, and then we're going to go out to a nice restaurant that I got us reservations at in our $9 outfits from Goodwill, right?" And like that's
you're giving out free date ideas just like that.
Yeah,
That was a good ass dating idea.
Right? But like that's a cute little thing, and like girls will fucking love that. And I like the idea of it. That just seems like a fun thing to do, right? Like you'll go to a fucking nice ass restaurant with like a dumb bucket hat and fucking striped shorts and a polka dot shirt because that's all you could afford with those $9. Like that's a great fucking time. So being able to like find, like if your girlfriend or a person that you're dating likes a certain band, just looking up like tour dates, seeing if they're coming to your city or your area, right? Buying tickets. Concert tickets are usually not that expensive unless it's like an A-lister, like if they like My Chemical Romance or, you know, Kesha. I don't fucking know about Kesha.
Should be less than $60.
Yeah, like you can find something for usually couple, like, you know, less than $100. And if you can't, right, if it's like a headliner, like big name, right, usually they like some like smaller names, or you can find genres of music that they like and go to like a small show in your city, right, with a lesser known artist, like, and it's just fun being able to find those things that are fun to go out and do, and just, you know, do a fun thing with them is really important. And if you're a homebody like me, it doesn't really it's not intuitive to you necessarily that this is a necessary thing, but not everyone is a homebody like you are, and you kind of do have to be able to do that sort of stuff.
You got to be
right?
flexible. You got to be a flexible person, like well-rounded.
And
it's good.
Active.
Yeah. It's good. It's fine to be like one thing. Lots of people don't know it, but I'm a pretty what's it called? It's the what's it called? It's when you're like a person, you like your alone time and stuff. Introvert. Yeah, I'm a really introverted person, and I have a very small social battery. People don't think it when they see me on stream or anything, but I'm a quite an introverted person. So when I have a partner that's very extroverted, sometimes I actually don't want a partner that's like super extroverted, but I do want a partner that's a little extroverted to get me out of my get me out of my thing, because if not, I'm just going to be at home all the time. And I like that. And you should have like someone to push you. And even though it can be like a little uncomfortable, that helps you become a more well-rounded person. At the end of the day, when we're basically, I think we can say that when you're looking for compatibility, don't expect your compatibility to mean you all are the same. Think of it as in you're complementary. So two colors can complement each other, but they're not the same in color. They're different things, but they work very well together. They respect each other, and that's basically what we can say we're looking for. Anything else that you want to say on this topic?
No, not particularly on this topic. I feel like we've gone through this one.
Okay, we're gonna do one more thing, and then I want to move to some comments that we got. How's that sound?
It works just fine for me.
Sounds perfect. Let's talk about the expectations that we have for women, and I feel like a lot of guys, their idea of this can be a little bit skewed, especially on the topic of like women's physical appearance and women's bodies. What do you think?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? I was answering a question in my chat, so sorry.
Sure, no problem. A lot of guys have really skewed expectations on women's bodies and women's physical appearance. Do you have anything to say on that?
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I don't have, for me, I don't know if this is like an out of the ordinary type, way of being attracted to people. I don't really feel like I have a type. Like there is a type that people say that I have, right? But none of the girls that I've dated have ever all fit. There's like one that's fit into this stereotype, right? So I don't feel like I have a type that I find super attractive. And I find a lot of things attractive in people that aren't traditionally attractive. So a lot of times when people talk about, I need like the youthful, big booba, nice ass, perfect girlfriend.
That hip to waist ratio.
Yeah. I find it hard to, I can't see it in the same way. Not that I don't like have standards or that I don't find certain people more attractive than others, right? So it's harder for me to quantify like how I would respond to that, because it's so far outside of the like lived experience that I have. What I would say is if you are like so hell bent on like, say you're the archetype of the girlfriend that you're looking for, you only find big titty goth GFs attractive, right? I would say number one, that's unsustainable because most people don't stay goth their entire life, right? You're looking at a very like small subset of ages, right? So if you age out of that group, then you're like cradle robbing pretty soon. But also, I would say like maybe don't care so much about the outward aesthetic so much as finding someone that is like fun to hang out with. I know that's such a standard answer, but it is the only answer that I can possibly give. Focusing on one feature or focusing on one aesthetic is really limiting yourself, and you're imposing a limit on yourself that is ultimately going to be self-destructive towards your emotional well-being, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's really like a self-imposed harm, right?
Yeah. No, definitely. You're limiting yourself a lot. And the thing is, a lot of guys will get really mad about this. Do you remember this video that popped off? I think it was on like Cut or something. It was like one girl dates 21 guys at the same time, and she has like these crazy high standards. Basically in comparison. And so there were like 20 guys that she had to pick from, all right there. And she kept giving like standard after standard after standard. And she was like filtering out the guys, and the guys would like get up and they'd go. And at the very end, she'd like knocked off like 5 guys in a row from like this one standard that she had. And then she sat there and she was all alone. And she was like, well, it looks like my standards may be a little bit high, but I don't want to compromise on them any. And then the guys in the comment section, their trauma, you could hear them fucking the bags of trauma that's chained to their ankles as they come like running to that fucking comment section to say, women, their standards, they did that. Like, come on, chill. All right, let's be honest. Lots of guys have a lot of standards about women. It's just not about like their like what they've done in life besides how many guys they've had sex with. Let's be honest, okay? So there are women out there who want the like high status dude, has a lot of money, has a cool car, can like do this, go on vacations, do that, all of that. Like there are women out there who want that. And like in lots of girls that they have that, but like in a much smaller version, they want like a higher status guy, they want him to be taller, they want like this, they want that. That happens, okay? The thing is, us guys, we have a lot of standards for women. You just don't want to compromise on them because you don't want to be looked at as the guy with like the ugly girlfriend or something. Let's be completely honest with ourselves. We have standards like she has to be young or like younger. She has to be shorter. She has to like not make more money than me. She has to not be more like confident than me, or like or like not very pushy, submissive, and breedable. She has to look very good like all of the time, like in makeup and out of makeup. She has to not smell weird. Like there's like a bunch of like inhuman things. And these dudes, for one, that standard is bad. because it's really hard for lots of women to keep up with that. Like a lot of these guys, they have absolutely no clue how long it takes to put on makeup. They have absolutely no clue how long it takes to keep up with that grooming style that you would like them to keep up with. That can be a lot. All right. Until you learn how to put on makeup, I don't think that you should be talking about this, that, or the third, or want her to be like completely fucking smooth as a baby seal 24/7. All right. Let's be completely honest. All right. You want that big standard, but you get mad when the standard is like put on you on your like social status. But when we look for in women, a lot of the times is like their looks. And if that's the case, and if that's the case, and that usually goes along with those women not aspiring to like really highly intensive, highly educated jobs, obviously they're going to look for dudes who can give them a good lifestyle because they have no fucking job, or they have like nothing else in that way, because so they want more than that. Women who have like more of their own stuff going on, obviously they're going to be different and look for different things in partners. So you could be that person. Listen, sometimes you can find yourself swiping left on perfectly average looking, perfectly fine girls who, if in any way, shape, or form, if they showed you any real attraction in the real world, you would be if that girl told you that you had a nice shirt that day, you'd be riding that high for a week. Let's be honest.
Listen, I said this earlier. There are there's like a number of things that are killing humanity due to the internet, right? Like in the internet, there's a whole bunch of things. I think the number 2 thing are dating apps. Number 1 is misinformation online. Number 2 is simply dating apps.
I think dating apps can fall under like misinformation. Like sometimes misinformation about how humans are.
Dating apps are self-harm. And so just to like what you're saying, I 100% agree that there are self-imposed, like all these standards that you're saying, again, they are self-imposed. And if you met someone that there are plenty of these like standards of like the perfect girl or the perfect partner that you would like to have, right? That you would immediately sell out because they don't actually matter to you as much as you think that they do. What really matters to you is like someone that like that you care about, that cares about you, that is there for you, that shares enough of the things in common with you, that is attractive enough for you to get it up, and good enough in bed for you to get it off, right? Like those are the things that I think are like baseline for people, and that's a really low bar if you think about it, right? So I don't think that men will say like women are like the complete gatekeepers of everything to do with love, right? There's a saying that I heard recently that like women might be the gatekeepers of sex, but men are the gatekeepers of relationships, right? And when like a woman can like, you know, fuck a dude over and over and over, hoping for him to like get into a relationship with her, and the guy not actually get into that relationship with her, right? Because he's the one that gets to decide whether they're actually in a relationship. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about these things, yeah, there are like unbelievable standards that people will say that they have, that they will, but the thing that you have to remember is people will mostly like drop those in a fucking second if most of them aren't met, or if like the most important things are met, right? People like sell out like a million things. Like I could list off like the perfect attractive girl right now, which I won't because my girlfriend might be watching. But
it's her.
My girlfriend. It is her. Well, I would say like she fits like a great many of the things. I would say like physical attractiveness and emotional stuff, like, but like she doesn't fit every single one of them. But that doesn't matter to me because the things that she does provide for me in terms of like the things that are most important make the other things seem so inconsequential, right? And that's like how you ought to see like finding someone that like, especially if you're looking for a partner long term, right? You should be looking for the things that are most important to you, not trying to like impress your friends with like, hey, yo, I found this broad and she's a 10 out of 10, right? Well, that might be fun for a little while. Like sometimes people that you find are very attractive are very unattractive, like human beings, right? Like with their personality. And then you're like in a whole fucking pickle because now you're in a relationship with that person and there's more expectations than you're willing to actually, meet for that person. And then, both of you walk away with some sort of emotional hurt afterwards. So find the things that are most important to you and don't give a fuck about the other things because you don't actually care about them as much as you think you do.
Yeah, dudes, listen, all right? Squad W, women will stay with dudes who could be high status sometimes because they give them a good lifestyle, and men can stay with women who are absolutely dog shit because they also give them a high status. But lots of guys derive their status socially from the women that decide to spend time around them and not even like date them. Like I'm talking about like, I'm not sure if you've ever seen this, but a guy who has like women who are friends and they're hot and they're cool and they're like 10 out of 10s, they'll get praised for that, for the woman even wanting to spend time around them like at all. Like that's crazy, dude. She wants to like hang out with you? Really? That can be like a really big thing. Oh no, did I just lose my train of thought? Fuck, it was like something you said about no, that sucks.
I talked about things that are most important to us. I talked about things, don't really care about the things like all of the standards you have because the ones that are most important to you will stick out to you. I said stuff about like, you'll be in a relationship with like a 10 out of 10, but like that will lead to emotional hurt later on because you don't really care about that as much as like the rest of the relationships.
No, nothing came back to me. It's all right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It happens sometimes. But one thing that I want to circle back on just for like a moment is that like one trait, because I remember this, like that one trait that someone's looking for. Like you could like not be the partner for someone because you're not tall enough. Sure. But also being the one person that someone wants to, that person wants to date you because you're only tall can also be pretty fucked up. So I'm not sure if you've been fetishized in any way, but for me personally, and we talk about this sometimes, the breeder girls who will like use typically like white girls who go for like black guys because they think they're like super sexually powerful or something, or they really like the idea of being with like a black boyfriend. And I've experienced that. I've been fetishized before. I've been like hunted by like some of those girls who really like the idea of having their like a latte colored baby. And it's weird. It is weird. I mean, still hate it though, but it's really weird and it's not good. And that's not a good foundation for a relationship. You don't want that. That's not something that you want. So sure. Yeah, that can be cool to get you like in the door, but it's not really good. I remembered the point that I was going to talk about. The idea of like men being like the gatekeepers of relationships. And this is really true. One thing that you may not have heard, because some of y'all don't listen to fucking women, but if you've ever listened to girls sometimes, one thing that they'll tell you, and I've heard this from a lot of my women friends, is that they get a lot of attention from guys. It's not the attention that they want though. It's none of the attention that they want. So even if they're like looking for a relationship and all of those things, lots of those guys aren't looking for a relationship with them, or only looking for a relationship with them because they're pretty. And that's also them getting fetishized, and they want to turn those guys down. So you can be like, oh, this girl's Tinder is fucking blowing up, but maybe 0 of those guys are the guys that she wants to be with because they all want to put their, SpaceX rocket in their rocket socket, her she pocket. So that's and that sucks for those girls. It's actually called how we have the friend zone. Lots of those girls are stuck in the sex zone with guys who don't want to with guys who don't want to date them, but who will absolutely have sex with them at any point in time. I know you guys in chat and you guys listening, you absolutely know women who you do not want to date and you do not care to date, do not care to be around for any longer than it takes you to nut. All right, let's be honest. You don't. You think she's hot and you want to like fuck her, but that's like it. That's period. And a lot of girls on the same way how we talked about how we think of women through like only a guy's lens. Sometimes women can think of guys only through like a women's lens. So lots of women, when it comes to their sexual partners, a lot of them won't have sex with guys they can't see themselves in a relationship with. But with guys, that's almost the complete opposite. We can have like two separate baskets: girls that we'd have sex with but never date, and girls that we will date and, you know, obviously have sex with at some point in time. Maybe not, you know, at that moment. We're not attracted to them like sexually, like, period. It was like, oh wow, she's really interesting, you're like thinking of her in that way. But there's lots of girls who will absolutely not have sex with someone that they can there's like can be like those two buckets there sometimes for women. My bad, women usually have just one bucket, and guys typically can have like those two buckets, and so they can be like, oh, obviously it like the sex there, it's like a really emotional thing that means a lot to him probably. So while she could like continue to have sex with this guy and think that, oh, I can have more sex with this guy and he's gonna like me more. No, he kind of just can be in that way, just using you, or knowingly or unknowingly be using you when that communication is not there, and you think that she just wants to have sex with you, but on her end she thinks that this is going to lead to a relationship where typically, in that sense, the guy is the gatekeeper there, whether you're going to be in a relationship or not. And lots of girls can get stuck in that loop, and it feels very bad.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Like that's just kind of the way that things are right now. It's not that this is the way that things ought to be, obviously, but in terms of just talking about the way that things are, that's just unfortunately the state of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you should do your best to not perpetuate it, right? And try not to keep people in the fuck zone, because
communication.
this is the last thing I'll say before we move into the like answering questions that were taken before we started. But one of the problems that I have is that I've lost my train of thought. I was going to say there's the fuck zone, and dudes will keep girls in the fuck zone.
The friend zone as well.
The friend zone as well. But I was going to say, so when some people will say, well, that's not that bad, right? Like just having sex with someone, or just like being in the fuck zone isn't a bad thing because, you know, free love and all that. And in like the nice lefty utopia, that would be nice and all. But the reality of the situation is, as much as we hate to like point out that sometimes socially conservative people are correct, it is probably true that having sex with someone is a little bit more intimate than, you know, just dating them platonically, or, you know, not, or just like kissing them. It probably is a little bit more intimate to that person emotionally, right? And so keeping people in the fuck zone, or just, you know, wanting the friends with benefits thing, it almost never works out. And someone or both people always, or like 99% of the time, ends up being incredibly hurt from it, right? And you have to keep that sort of thing in mind when going into those situations, or, you know, instead of going into those situations, avoiding them when someone wants to bring you into them, because someone is going to get hurt, most likely. So it's just one of those things that I would say to work out for.
Definitely. All right. Very fun. Also, something from chat. Fuck you. Okay? Listen, I'm sorry. Lots of dudes think that they can wear baggy clothes and that's going to make them look better. I'm sorry, you look like shit. You look like you're homeless. You look bad. It's not even the fashionable baggy. It's not fashionable oversized. You just look like it looks like you just spun. It looks like you got caught up in a fucking tornado that took out a Goodwill and all of the clothes cartoonishly put themselves on you. You do not look good. There can be good there is a good baggy and there is a bad baggy. Don't wear clothes
and you're not doing the baggy correctly.
You are not. Right? You are not doing the baggy correctly. You look like shit. Okay, you do. Sorry. And women notice it, and women don't like it. They see that you don't put any work into yourselves, or they can see that you are self-conscious because of what you're wearing. You look like you're self-conscious just walking around in the clothes that you're wearing.
It's super true. When I was in the 9th grade and in the 10th grade, right, I was incredibly fucking self-conscious about
Were
my
you the
body.
hoodie boy?
I was the hoodie boy. I bought clothes that were intentionally baggy so that people couldn't see how fat I was. Looking back, I wasn't fat at all, like at all. I was, lying to myself that I was fat, right? I just felt like I was, but I really wasn't. Now I am, but I wore these baggy clothes, and you know what? It just made me look worse. It doesn't hide the way that you're wearing clothes that are baggy to hide your weight, perhaps, or hide like whatever it is. It actually doesn't work, and it actually just makes you look worse than you
Yep.
looked before.
Yep.
So just
you look
find
bigger and you
clothes-
look worse.
Yeah, so just like find clothes that like look decent, and like you can find clothes that are comfortable and look decent, and it's not that hard, right? Like fuck, I still have the aesthetic where I wear lots of like flannel shirts and t-shirts underneath, right? And sometimes I'll tie the flannel around my waist, and like there's all sorts of fun little ways you can do that, right? But even though I have like a very comfortable way of dressing, I still make sure that the flannels I wear are not like ripped and smelly and like shitty. I still make sure that the t-shirts that I wear are like I have like a one right now. It's like a Henley shirt, and it has a fucking buttons on it, so it doesn't. It's not just like a XL t-shirt with a crew neck, that cost like $2 at Walmart. Just caring about your appearance just slightly more than you did before is probably going to do wonders for you.
Oh no, yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, dude. Even if you're a bigger guy and you don't like the way you look, wear clothes that fit you and complement your body, not ones that hide it. You just look like walking anxiety. You look like walking low self-esteem. You look like walking anxiety. It's not a good look. Everybody sees it. All right, they see right through your charade. And you look worse for it, and you feel worse for it. It's not good. All right. You want to answer some questions?
Yeah, I made a point not to read through any of the questions, except for the one that I had sent you in DMs, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going in completely blind, and I'm ready for it.
Let's go. All right. Let's start off on my YouTube community page is the first place I posted it. So here's one. How do you explain to people that the alienation young men experience isn't hypergamy or evil women, but just the ever tightening grip of capitalism and the traditional values that don't fit society anymore? You want to tackle this one first, or me?
You go first. Can you copy and paste the questions to me in DMs so that I can just like see the exact wording, because that question was there were some words in there that I want to dissect.
Sure. Here, one moment.
Yeah.
Where's my yes, big brain. We're going big brain on this one. There we go. Beautiful. Actually, here, let me send you the whole community post so you can read it. I'm just going down the line.
Okay, cool.
Shoop. This should send you to it.
Got it.
So, okay. All right. Hypergamy. For the people who don't know what hypergamy is basically the idea that like feminism has come and feminism has liberated women from being able to from not being stuck in relationships with like the worst possible dude, or else they'll be like fucking poor, so they won't have sex with me because I can't trap them and be like, well, if you leave you'll be poor, and she'll have to stay. And it's really sad that women get to pick and choose who they have sex with, and it's very sad actually. It is not the alienation that they experience is not because of it is not because of hypergamy. Women being able to choose the partners that they can be with without like the coercion of being poor or being beat is a good thing for me personally. I think it's great that my sister gets to choose what partner that she has, and not just pick the guy who's going to give her a roof over her head. I think that's a pretty sick thing, and be able to leave a relationship where if the guy's treating her like garbo, doo-doo ass, good. It's more because of like the way our society is, not having time to talk to each other as much, not valuing social time as much. Men, it's catching back up to us that we can spend more times in our own houses, and less time outside. And even though that's good that we're not doing as much physical dangerous labor, it can be a problem when it comes to being able to talk to people and the erosion of those like social connections that we have. And it's even worse for lots of guys because guys aren't like conditioned to have like really strong in a very big tight network of people that they can talk to. So guys kind of get hit a lot harder than women do. Not to say it doesn't happen to women. It does happen to women, and there are lonely girls out there. I see you out there, lonely girl. Listen, you deserve a hug. You do. Lonely boys out there, you also deserve a hug. It's all right. The women are not evil. They're not having sex with you because they're evil. They probably don't have time to, because they're working at their job and then they're too exhausted and they go home and they want to like eat their ice cream and then watch their true crime videos. That happens sometimes. Go ahead.
I want to say this really quick. I actually don't think that like to a certain degree we can talk about like the societal impacts of capitalism and how much we work and all these different things. But I don't think that ultimately the average person has to work so much that they literally have zero time to go around and socialize. What I think, insofar as capitalism is affecting us, is the internet has been made into the most entertaining place in the entire fucking world, and you don't have to leave your fucking house. And people are choosing to stay at home and be entertained through the internet, right? And this isn't really a knock on them. The internet is fucking dope as fuck. And
Pretty
you guys
sick.
are sitting at home and watching me right now.
Yeah, we're
and
here.
watching Shark. And so, like, that's obviously a better thing for us. But people are choosing to stay at home because it is easier, right? It is cheaper to stay inside and not go out and choose, going to a bar or like going to like the local whatever, the local pub or whatever is the thing in your area of the world, right? People do choose these things, and we're choosing the easier way to interact with entertainment. Most of the time, or before the internet, people would have to, if they wanted to be entertained, before TV was like an on-demand thing and you could choose from a million and one channels, or like you could like have 50 video games at home or the internet to communicate with your friends, you had to like go outside and go somewhere to meet up with people. And that's how you would meet new people. And that's how you would, meet your partners. And that's a topic for another podcast where we're talking about like how to meet new people, or make friends, or make girlfriends and stuff like that. But unironically, people need to go out and touch grass.
But also it's important to realize that, important to acknowledge, even though it's not that they're working like so much they don't have time, I think sometimes it's less about time and less about the emotional exhaustion, the physical and emotional exhaustion that you get like after work. If you're standing all day at work and you're done and your like feet hurt and you're tired and you're sick of talking to people, you're less likely to go out and hang out at the pub, even if you have the time to.
Yeah, I might be like saying it in a way that is a bit more harsh than you are, but I guess I might be getting a little bit disillusioned with the internet in general as a concept. Like, I want to get rid of it just entirely. But it does suck. And I'm saying that people are like, but ultimately people are still making that choice, because people still stood at factories and they still went out and drank with their buddies afterwards. And but it is easier, and I don't blame people for taking like the easier choice, right? You're heavily incentivized to make the easier choice, because holy fuck, it does suck to work 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, maybe 12 hours a day, depending on where you work, right? Standing all day, depending on what kind of job you are, and depending on what job it is, more or less physically intensive, or mentally intensive, right? And then going home and like having to get dressed and go out and fucking maybe drive for 30, 45 minutes to get to the hangout spot where everyone wants to meet.
Gas and time.
Gas and time. So like the things that we have to like tackle here are maybe finding ways, not just how to, not spend all your time at home, but find ways that you can make friends in your local area in a way that isn't like super difficult, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Let's go to another one. Talk about how, it's less of a question, more of, I guess, a statement. They're just telling us what to do. What the fuck? Talk about how to make it more common for guys to open up and talk about their feelings to other guys, to other guy friends that they have. This is like something that's going to happen like in between, between men more than like women. Not that women don't play a part here. Women do play a part here, especially since most guys are like going to try and date. Women play a part here, and you hear a lot of women talk about how their boys don't open up to them. It can be difficult to open up sometimes, not only because of like how you think that you'll be seen, but how you like perceive yourself and thinking that you can like control that. I think one of the scariest times for me was when I lost control because I was like crying. It was the first time I was crying in 2 years, maybe even more than that, maybe even 3 or 4 years. First time I was ever crying. And when I was crying, it was like an unstoppable sort of crying. There was nothing that I could do about it. And that was like really horrifying to be like, for that to be like in your face, that you were not in control this entire time. You were just hiding it. You were pretending, and now like here it is, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Here's this like state of being that you have to reconcile with, that you didn't that you've been trying to repress. So it can be like really difficult sometimes, but I think just leaving that like door open can be like one of the biggest things that you could possibly do for your like friends, to just be like, one good way that you could start is be like, hey, you know, even if there's nothing going on, just pull them aside and be like, hey, you know, dude, if you're going through something, listen, I'm always here for you, my man, you know. I love you, and I want to take care of you. I want to make sure that you're okay, and I hope that you can, that if anything ever happens, that you could be there for me as well. And I think that sort of like connection that you feel there can be a really big thing. You don't have to do this with all of your friends, obviously, but you can do this with like the closest ones that you have. And like when you see one of your friends like experiencing any loss or grief, lots of guys don't like to deal with that in its face. They like to do something and try and forget about it and get busy instead of actually facing it. That can be more of a topic for another day. But I think leaving the door open and letting them know that door is open is the best, because you can't force someone to open up to you. That's something that they have to do themselves. And I think like prying really hard can hurt someone even more.
Yeah, and I would say one way that you can do this, like to like make that connection, it's just like know what's going on in your friend's life. Like,
yeah, talk to them, ask them.
Yeah, just like fucking talk to your friends. Holy shit, because like people are willing to talk if you like sit there and ask them questions. Well, like a general piece of advice for people that don't know how to talk to other people, right? Like just don't know how to make the conversation keep going, or you're more of just like you don't like to contribute to conversation very much. You're an introvert. Just ask them questions, because people love to hear themselves talk. People love answering questions about themselves. And if you have a friend that you know recently went through a breakup or something, just be like, hey man, how's the, like, how are you feeling after the whole breakup? I know that, like, if you don't want to talk about it, it's fine. But like, you know, you doing okay, right? And if they're like, you know, feeling sad, let them know that it's okay for them to talk to you, just do it nonchalantly, right? Because like I feel like what Shark said was right. I feel like a lot of people might be taken off guard, or maybe it could just be like personal like experience. Like if someone were to walk up to me and be like, hey bro, if you need to talk about anything, you totally can, I would immediately shut down. But that might just be a personal thing. The way that I would personally do it, I would just, you know, kind of nonchalantly say like, hey man, I know it's like rough for you right now. You doing all right? You talking to anybody else? Or was it rough, or was it just like kind of amicable, right? Because I've had these conversations with coworkers. I've had these conversations, and now those coworkers are like good, close friends of mine. I've had these conversations with my roommate. I've had, you know, and when you're a dude and you're able to make that connection with another dude, right? Where most men do not have a connection like that, or feel comfortable communicating that with anybody outside of like their significant other. It's really, really, really good for them to be able to like say that to someone. And I can always tell after I talk to someone like, hey man, that was rough. So like, this is the last thing I'll say, and then I'll pass it back to you. When I recently went out to a bar with one of my friends, my old coworker, right? And we actually ran into his ex-girlfriend there, right? And you know, they were like chill, and they said hello and everything. And we were at a club, and so like he saw her dancing with other guys, and you know, after we got back, I sat down, talked to him for about 45 minutes, right? Just like, you know, I know that's fucking rough as fuck, and it's just something that everyone has to deal with at least once in their life usually. So we just talked about it, and I could tell that it was touching for him. So it's being able to do that for your dude friends, your male friends, your guy friends is important.
Your boyfriends,
both for you and them. Your boyfriends, yeah.
No, yeah, I know. I sympathize with that. I don't want to see my exes again. Sorry. Like once we break up, I don't want to see you again. I don't want to talk to you again. I hope that you vanish from the real world and you live your life, but happy in the corporeal realm where we will never make physical nor visual contact with each other for the rest of days. That's just me personally. Some people think, listen, all right, they're called boundaries. And this is the last thing I'll say about this. They're called boundaries, and we can talk about this in length at another time later. But I don't want to be friends with my exes after we break up. Okay, it's okay to be like, I don't want to ever see you again in my entire life. It's okay that if you express feelings for a girl and she doesn't reciprocate, to be like, I don't want to be friends with you. Like after that, I'm sorry. It's not punishing the person. I have boundaries. I'm going to be uncomfortable because I have feelings for you, and those are not reciprocated. And if you try to be friends with that person, more likely than not, you're not going to be friends. You're going to think, if I can do this, if I can do that, I can treat her as like a side girlfriend.
True.
If I can just buy her this, and if I can take her here, I'll drive her places. You know, she asks for something, she calls me at 3 a.m. I'll be there. Not because you're a good friend, because you think if you do it, that she's going to like you back someday. It's bad.
Don't do it.
Don't be friends with them. And some people will think that, oh, you're punishing the woman for not liking you back. No, you're punishing yourself for thinking that you can do that when you absolutely can't. It's a form of self-harm. Don't do it. I don't ever want to see any of my exes ever again. If I express feelings for a girl and she does not reciprocate, I don't want to see that chick ever again in my entire life, because it's just better for me. And I hope that she lives a great life away from me. That's what I think. Okay.
There's literally nothing wrong with that statement whatsoever. Listen, some people can do it, right, and can be friends with their exes,
and that's great. That's amazing.
If you can't, hey, listen, don't try. If you don't think that you can, don't fucking try, because it'll be it makes it so much worse, fellas. Hey, fellas, it makes it so much fucking worse. Just fucking cut them out of your life. Block them on fucking everything.
Block them, block their friends, block the people who like hang out with them. Don't see them. No, try not to hang out in their circles. If you can't, delete all those pictures. When I got a relationship, I didn't want to go back through all of those pictures and delete them myself. I gave $30 to my friend. I gave her the password, and I had her delete everything that related to her, everything, and all the girls who had her same name, delete her contacts out of my phone. Yep, get that shit out of my life.
Fucking King right here went through and blocked my ex for me on not only my main accounts on Facebook and shit, but also on my alts. All right.
Yep.
What a fucking king.
Yep. That's a good friend right there. Get them out of your life. Don't do it. As our good friend Destiny said, the same strings that you hold on to with thinking that you're gonna make this work are the same ones you'll hang yourself when you realize it won't. Anyways,
really quick, someone in your chat said this, and I don't know what our policy is going forward on the podcast, answering questions in chat. But someone said, what if she was the main part of my life for a year and a half? Listen, dog, I sympathized super fucking hard. I was in a relationship for 2 years, right? And like literally
best friend.
best friend, fucking like awesome relationship. That shit ended. Dog, get that shit out of your fucking life. Delete every fucking picture. Delete every fucking or like, you know what? Put it on a flash drive and like tell your friend to hide it for you. And then when you're over and you need one of those meme pictures that you sent to her, right? Meme, not mean. Don't send mean pictures to people, but send like when you need those meme pictures, right? Fucking tell your friend you need the flash drive again. All right, get that shit as far the fuck away from you as possible and move on, because it will never make you happy. It will never make you happy being able to reminisce on the happy memories that you had back then. It'll just make you sad and angry and bitter, and then you're gonna, just like sit there and wallow for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And stagnation is the worst possible thing that you can do as a person.
It's bad.
All right?
Yep. And and get rid of the things that she bought you or made for you. I have it's actually
unless it's expensive and really nice.
Yeah, unless it's expensive and really nice.
That shit.
I know during like a past relationship my girlfriend's cat died, and so I commissioned in artwork for her of the cat, and I know she still has that. But other than that, I mean,
I thought you were going to say she gave you the ashes.
No, she still has the ashes. She still has it. But I don't know. I went with her the day like her cat had to be put down, and then I drove with them to take the cat to the pet crematorium and everything. So
y'all had to take it yourself?
Yeah. She wanted to take the boy herself. She wanted to say goodbye herself.
Fuck, dog. When I worked at a vet clinic, they did the full service. Although you don't want to know what they did with the animal backstage, so I won't say that here.
Okay, please. No, please. But yeah, I have and one day I want to like get with my friends and I want to take everything that like I ever had in that relationship, because I still have those things from that relationship, and just put them in a big bonfire and just burn them. We're here in Kentucky. We can start a big fire. I just want to take everything and just burn it, because there's like a book, like a little like notebook journal thing, and on every single page she wrote something that she loved about me or something that reminded me of her, and I still have it. I just keep it with my books, and I want to throw that away, like little things, and like a painting that she made of me. I want to take that one day and then just like burn it and be able to be like, yeah, let me just move on. I'm usually a sentimental person, but I think it's probably for the best. Moving on. How to engage with people without coming off as creepy. I know quite a few people who would benefit from searching up something like that. Yes, I bet they would. Asking for a friend, right? What do you think?
How to engage with people without coming off as creepy? I think that it requires practice, and I think that a lot of the coming off as creepy is largely psychological. It's all in your head. You're not actually coming off as creepy, but the more you think you're coming off as creepy, the more it feels like the more it actually is coming off as creepy, right? So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So how do you come off being like natural and not creepy? It really does require practice. I'm currently out of practice because of COVID, right? I didn't talk to a whole lot of people, right? But I like general rules are things like, if you're in a conversation with someone, if you're like at a party, right? Ask them questions, right? Just like, if you don't have anything that you want to say, just like be like, oh, okay, that's cool. What kind of things do you like? Oh, you like He-Man? Oh shit. Yeah, no, He-Man's really cool. I really like Skeletor. What's your favorite character?
Well, He-Man, wow, that really reminds me of She-Ra. So basically, I'm a political streamer, and there's this one guy, his name is The Quartering, and he jerks off to pictures of She-Ra, and that's like his thing. It's really weird. Hey, so what are you drinking?
Yeah, I try my goddamn best to not talk about streaming too much, because right now that's all I'm doing, right? So I have to talk around the fact that I'm a streamer, right? Because this is the social circle that I'm in right now, and it sucks. That's why I have to disengage from the political streams a little bit. I got to go out and touch some grass. I got to talk to some real life people, but or just watch some anime stuff and then talk about that on stream instead. So, but yeah, how not to come off as creepy? The only answer is just practice talking to people, right? You can't just instantly not be creepy or dumb or like awkward in a conversation.
Yeah, and put yourself in their shoes. Put yourself in their shoes. Like, how, would you feel really uncomfortable if at this time, in this way, if someone was like approaching you? Would that be like really weird for you? Think about that. Like putting yourself in other people's shoes. Like thinking about what the other person could be thinking in that moment is a good way to, like, you could be like, oh, maybe now isn't the right time to talk to them. Like now isn't the right time to approach them. Or if they're busy right now, that probably isn't the best time to do this or that or say this or that. Or if I said this joke right now, would that like be like a little bit weird? Understanding how other people could be thinking, just spending some time to think about that, and your like past times talking to people could be a really great way to for you to weed that out. I mean, at the end of the day, you're gonna have to start to approach people, and some of those people are going to feel uncomfortable about you approaching them. That's like just gonna happen. I'm sorry, if you're a dude and you're like, I want to go out and I want to start talking to girls or something, there's probably going to be at some point in time you're gonna approach a girl and it's gonna be weird and she's gonna be weirded out, and you guys are gonna have an awkward laugh, and then you'll like back away slowly from her. This is probably gonna happen. Like, I'm sorry, it probably will. But hopefully the better you get at it, the more you do it, the further apart like that sort of stuff is going to happen. And I remember specifically when me and my friends were all single, and our big thing was, we got to get better at speaking to females. So we hung out a lot. So we were like, every time we hang out, what we're doing, we're going to talk to one girl, period. Period. We're going to like hit up a girl and like be like, hey yo, what's up, girl? How you doing? You know, we're going to talk to girls. And so we pushed each other, sometimes, you know, metaphorically,
physically?
Sometimes physically, just push them towards them and be like, go talk to them. And I remember I talked to this one girl, super cute. I saw her from across the gym. We were all at the gym. I saw her from across the gym. She was doing yoga, and I was like, she is so beautiful.
No. That was the worst possible time that you could have ever approached a girl, Shark.
Wait, no, Listen. She was doing yoga, and I was like, she is beautiful. That is one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my entire life. That shit's crazy. And so I didn't want to approach her while she was doing yoga. You were thinking, okay, if you were in the middle of doing your like sun salute, all right, yoga, would you want some dude to walk up to you and be like, hey, what's up? No. So she finished her yoga, and we finished our workout, and she was packing up. And so I told my friends, I was like, that girl over there, she's like so pretty. And they were like, then go. And they all like fucking pushed me. And sometimes the first step is the hardest, but they pushed me towards her. And I was like, okay, I gotta, they won't let me return. So there's only one way to go. So I walked up to her, and I said, hey, I saw you from across the gym. I thought you were really beautiful. And I really want to, I couldn't leave without getting to know you. Okay. And she was like, She stood there for like a second, and she was like, thank you. Like, honestly, thank you. That is the nicest thing that I've heard like all week anybody say to me. Thank you so much for that. I am in a relationship. I have a boyfriend. But if you keep approaching women like that, then I know you'll get a girlfriend sometime. And that was probably one of the nicest interactions that I've had with someone doing that. There are other girls. I never had a girl be like super
switched me like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
You told me that you were gonna. I thought you were gonna approach that girl while she was yogaing, and oh shit, fuck.
Yeah,
my heart was racing for a second.
Yeah, she was doing her downward dog, and then I got on the floor, and then it was like, hey, I thought you were really. No, I wanted to wait until she was finished. Then we talked for like a moment, and she was extremely nice. And she said that that if I keep doing that, then I'm gonna get a girlfriend one day, and I did. So it won't always be a bad situation. Yeah. Actually, lots of times if you work on it, it can be a great situation. And you can get a lot of information out of that. And some girls will even tell you like what you can do better, what you did wrong, sometimes without even asking. Like, there are lots of very, very nice women out there. Is there anything else you want to talk about this?
I just like the last thing that I would say. I'll make 2 points. Number one, for me, like, not everyone meets people in the same way, right? For me, most of the people that I end up meeting, right, and end up dating, I don't do like the whole bar thing, right? I don't walk up to people randomly and talk to them. It's just not like a a thing that I think I could do. It's not in my personality really. But or and with the expectation of like trying to get their number or anything. What I would do, right? Generally speaking, in my past is, usually it's like a friend of a friend, and like I just meet them, and then we see each other at like a couple of parties or meetups, and then like we end up talking, and then usually for me, I end up hooking up with people first and then dating them afterwards. It's not usually like I don't usually go on first dates per se.
So I'm the gatekeeper of sex.
It's a very
relationships.
I'm not very good at dating. All right, but what I would say is don't try and talk to people at bars. Like the only person I've ever met at a bar that I ended up dating is my current girlfriend, and we've been dating for like 2 years, right? And we met at a bar, and just like my friend group and her friend group ended up talking on the patio at this bar, club, whatever, right? And we all just kind of joked around, and I got all of their Instagrams, and we were all just like pals, right? And talked to them a couple of times. We saw each other at other bars, and then eventually hung out and started dating. So like you don't have to approach every single person. I would say try and make friends first, right? Go out with a group of friends and don't like be obviously on the prowl. And like you can usually make friends, end up dating any of the people that you were talking to. You at least have friends that you can then meet other people through, right?
Yeah,
because the more people
friends. Mutual friends are a great way to make partners. But yeah, listen, just be yourself. Think about what the other person may be thinking in that moment. Don't be afraid of of them saying no. That's perfectly fine. And even if they do say no, a lot of times they'll be like really kind about it. And you may not make a friend there, but you'll have a very nice situation where you're like, oh, they didn't want to like go through this even more, but they complimented me, and you'll be writing off that compliment. It'll be really good. Let's talk about this anonymous ask that you sent me in chat. So I didn't read the entirety of this, and honestly, when you sent it to me, I got the notification on my phone, and I'm like, I didn't know that we were going to be trauma dumping. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm like, I thought this was you. I was like, I mean, all right, but but
yeah,
okay.
I just copy and paste it. I probably should have said first anonymous question, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, me. I have a few good friends, but I struggle with putting myself out there, especially when it comes to dating. I'm deeply self-conscious, and while that's a different issue, I often feel like men don't get room to be anything but confident, be it in a romantic relationship or platonic ones. Even at work, I'm expected to be 100% sure of myself all the time, and I am deeply emotionally and mentally exhausted, especially when I feel like I'm more of a feminine guy than most. So what are some ways men can balance societal expectations of their personal being, especially when the expectations are contrary to the ones inside?
So when I say confidence, right, I don't mean like when I say confidence, I don't mean like you have to be like the ultra Chad and be like super assertive, right? Just being sure of who you are, right? Being able to not be scared to say who you are or to hide any part of your personality, and being able to be your true self, like essentially, right? It doesn't mean that you have to be the assertive one, or that you can't be the submissive one, or can't be more feminine than masculine or whatever, right? There are sometimes that I feel like I'm more feminine than masculine in certain situations, or like on certain days where I'm feeling just like I don't want to be like overbearing or anything like that, right? I'll let someone else take the lead, right? And I think that's totally fine. But letting someone else take the lead doesn't mean that you're not confident while you're doing it, right? Just
sometimes it's not about being confident in yourself, but being confident in them, and which can be like a good feeling. Like you trust them, like you're confident in them to make good decisions, which can make someone feel good that you're allowing them to take the lead.
Yeah, and I think that that's fine. Like you don't have to. The societal expectations maybe telling you that it has to be the man has to be super confident, aggressive, and initiate the conversations, right? But again, you don't have to initiate conversations every single time with the expectation of like trying to date. Usually just like talk, because you have to understand from, and this is largely anecdotal, but I think that it's probably indicative of how like most women feel when they're at a public venue or something like that, or even like a party or something like that. They probably feel like dudes are like on the prowl to try to fuck, right? So if you're just like trying to be friends with someone initially and see if they're chill, right? They'll probably appreciate that a great deal.
Yeah,
you don't have
if
to
you
be
like
super
approach them,
aggressive.
yeah, if you approach them and you're just like nice and kind and you want to know about them and you don't give off the vibe that you're doing this to just fuck them, they'll like that. It's nice. It's nice. Women, it's a lot rarer for women for guys to come up and just like would like to just get to know them. That's a very rare thing that they feel sometimes. Definitely. The thing is, I think we need to break down this like barrier of feeling like you need to be 100%. Sometimes we get the idea that being confident means that you have like everything together in front of you. Sometimes knowing that you don't know, or knowing that you don't have control over a situation, or you don't know what to do, you can like understanding yourself and your limitations can come off as like a form of confidence. So one thing I remember like Dr. K talking about when it comes to and this could be like more of a topic of another situation, but basically he talked about how we can sometimes feel like when we have problems or like feelings that we have and we'd like to relay that to our partner or like our friends, we feel like we need to have like it has to be all wrapped together. We have to have all of our bullet points put down. We have to like run through all of the possible like dialogue trees they could go on and put like nice bow on top before we give it to someone. Sometimes understanding that you don't know or you're not sure, and just handing someone like a handful of just stuff can also be like perfectly fine. So sometimes we like feel a certain way. It could be like, I don't know if you've ever like felt this sometimes, but let's say you want to like hang out with your girlfriend or something, but her, like, I don't know, a friend came in from out of town and this is like the one time she gets to hang out with them, and so they go out and hang out, but you wanted to hang out and you felt really neglected that day, and you felt like, and you really want to spend that time with her, and that made you feel bad, but you understand that kind of that her friend takes more precedent there. She's allowed to have friends and she's allowed to hang out with them. That person's going to be gone soon and you're going to still be here. It's not wrong to feel bad in that situation. You did feel neglected. That's fine. Understanding and accepting you feel a certain way, there's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes being able to express that to your partner, like, I felt bad when you hung out with your friend. I felt neglected and I was sad when that happened. I understand that it was important for you to hang out with your friend, and I wanted you to do that. I didn't want you to leave that. I didn't want you to like neglect that for me, but that's just how I felt in that situation. And sometimes them being like, okay, and I'm sorry you felt that way, can be like the only thing that you need to hear to make you feel better, because they still care about you, but you can be running through all of these things in your head about like how they feel instead of like just asking them sometimes. And so not being okay with not having everything 100% like put together, and having all of your emotions just like completely untangled, which is almost near impossible, and you can stress yourself out even trying to do that. Just being okay with handing someone like an incomplete project or incomplete feelings is better, and look for women who are more into like more like feminine guys. Sometimes, so I don't want to. Sometimes I feel like the idea of like a more feminine guy can have like a weird like connotation to it. But like soft boys, like some of my friends, like Jacqueline was in the stream. She said that I come off as more of a cute soft boy, like emotionally in touch soft boy, which I resent a little bit. But you know, if that's how I come off, that's how I come off. That's fine. But and that's okay. There's lots of women who feel that way. I remember like one time, I was talking to this one of my women friends who doesn't like really strong guys. And I was talking about how I've been to the gym, and she's like, oh, can I feel your muscles? And I was like, sure. And I flexed for her, and then she like felt my bicep and she was like, ew. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean, ew? You see these what? You see these guns? What do you mean, ew, lady? And she was like, I'm not really into muscles. I don't like guys with muscles. What? It was like a complete departure from anything that I was ever experienced. But she didn't like it. That wasn't her type of. She wasn't. It's not her type of thing. That's kind of rude. It would be rude if we didn't have like a good relationship. We had a good relationship. She was a good friend. So it was like one of those kinds of things where you could like make fun of your friend and be like, ew, you know. Yeah. But yeah, like not every woman want 6 foot tall Giga Chad. Sometimes they want their 5'6" dweeb boy who is in sweaters and it like cares about his fashion and paints his nails every once in a while, and that's perfectly fine. All right, and there are women who love you, and we love you. All right, King. Is there anything else you want to talk about this?
Man, I'm not gonna say that.
What do you? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the 5'6" femboy who likes to paint his nails sounds like the kind of guy that I'm into. So
there you go. See, now you got there you go. Look at you. You're one, and you got some competition. All right, you got competition. So
yeah,
go ahead.
All I will say on that is I agree with what you're saying. I think that when we're talking about
also hello, Merrick. Nice to see you.
Oh, how's it going, Merrick? When we're talking about that sort of thing, I think it's like really important just for everyone to like know that confidence doesn't mean that you have to be like aggressive or like overbearing or, you know, assertive or in any way. Confidence can simply just being sure of yourself, right? People like will take these two concepts and mix them together, but it's not necessarily the same thing. And I think it's like pretty important for people to start recognizing that simply just being sure of yourself and who you are and comfortable in your own skin, insofar as like, you know, even if you like hate the way that you look, right? Being comfortable in like your personality, right, is what people are like mostly looking for. Is when I'm talking about confidence, right? When I'm talking to someone, right, people will say that I like exude big dick energy because I'm very confident, but I'm not like going super hard and aggressive and like asking all the questions and like talking the entire conversation, right? What I'm doing is I'm simply just very aware of who I am as a person, and that took a while, right? I'm 26 years old, right? Almost, and I have had time to introspect as to who I am as a person, what kinds of things I like, what kinds of things I don't like, what my personality is, right? Basically who I am, right? And yeah, that's why I exude the quote unquote big dick energy.
Yeah.
So
should I stop working out? No! I hate men. I fucking hate men. No, you should not just stop working out because there's some women who don't like super muscular guys. No.
No, I'm not going to say that either.
No, listen, you're fine. You're fine. If you like the way you look, that's the best look for you. Okay, it is true.
If you want a super dominatrix, like mommy milker, big fucking dominatrix bitch, like listen, maybe stopping working out is the thing for you. But probably, hey, guess what? It's gonna feel even better for that dominatrix to dominate a fucking 6'5" Giga Chad, right? If she wants to be the dominatrix for that, she's gonna get a lot more out of it. So. Mm-hmm.
Also, you're just kidding. I didn't know that you were just kidding. But also, there are dudes who feel like that. There are dudes who feel like that. They hear that women like this one thing, and then they're like, okay, that means I need to change like that. The difference between me and Son when it comes to growing beards, Son, you can grow like a pretty decent like big beard, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like to, but yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't like to, but he can. In my family, I'm like probably like the most bearded person in my family, right? I have probably like some of the most facial hair of like all of like the men in my family as far as I remember. Now I've trimmed down right now, but I don't think that I can grow like I don't think I can grow a beard that looks like Son's, and that's fine. And you know what? Actually, if you dig into the data and you ask women what they prefer, they actually don't prefer like a big beard compared to I think like the most liked thing as per all the research I've done on women is like long stubble, and that's like it, right? But does that mean that guys with like more beards look bad and that those guys should like shave their beards? No, it probably works really. I think Son looks great with the facial hair that he has.
Here's the thing. When it comes to like anything like that, I would say just do whatever the fuck you want. Like if you want to grow a beard, grow a beard. If you don't want to grow a beard, don't. I personally, like from a very young age, I knew what kind of aesthetic that I wanted to look like, which was long hair, have a beard, right? Put it in a ponytail. I like that
You want to look
look
like Vosh.
for me personally. From a very young age, 3 years apart, I already knew what he was going to look like in 2017. But no, but like even right now, like I could take the beard or lose the beard, right? I don't care either way. I would probably like ditch the beard if I cared about shaving often, but keeping this much facial hair off of your face off, it takes a lot of work. Because it grows back super fast. So I keep the beard, right? And my girlfriend likes it, so I keep the beard. I don't really care all that much. But if you can't grow a beard, two things. Number one, if you're like 21 and you can't grow a beard, shut the fuck up. You'll probably be able to grow a beard here like pretty soon, right? My beard didn't come in this thick when I was 21 years old. I had what I called racing stripes, meaning that the beard right here did not connect with the beard down here. It was like right here, all right? And there was nothing, and then right here. So I had little racing stripes on my cheeks, so I had to shave those all the time, right? You go through like a second puberty as a dude, all right? Chill the fuck out. If you're like mostly bearded, you'll get the rest of the beard, all right?
Yeah.
Number two, right? If you can't grow a beard, just fucking shave it. Don't fucking sit there with like 3 whiskers growing fucking 6 inches out of your face. Like shave it off.
Yeah,
and it's not going to take that much like upkeep, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, and women will talk about how the dude who looks like he's trying really hard to grow a beard, but he just can't. You know, it's like it's like the 13-year-old boy who gets like his first chest hair, and he's just in there like, hell yeah, brother, hell yeah. Listen, sometimes it's just best to shave it off, and sometimes it's not even like shaving it off like clean shaven. Sometimes it's just like taking it down to near like a skin shave where you only have like a little bit of stubble, and that can look great. That can look perfectly great.
Get yourself a beard clipper. I use the 1 inch on my chin and mustache, and then everything else I take it down to like half an inch or shorter, right? And then I let it grow up from there. Just learn how to cut your beard in a good way for you, and then it's fine.
Yep. Manscaping is really important.
It is really important, and you don't have to don't let it grow out further than it needs to, because my beard, when I grow it out, it like curls up and it stays all right here, and it's really long. If I was to get a straightener or some sort of like straightener comb and brush through it, it would go down to my fucking chest. But I'm not going to do that because I'm a lazy piece of shit, and I also don't want to put like hot metal near my face, so I shave it down. Don't be like the guy with the super thick beard that's all right here, right? Just know what looks good, and usually like clean lines look good, and like well groomed looks good. Don't just have it long for the sake of it being long, because then you'll look like your average like online socialist that obviously is like wanting to look like they live in the woods for the socialist aesthetic. Okay,
it's not good.
That.
Yeah, and even if you're growing out your beard and it grows in like a little bit patchy, instead of like shaving it all off, once again, you could just shave it down, and so then it starts to like look fine. So the bald spots kind of just blend in perfectly fine with like the spots that are like have more hair on them, and it'll look fine. And it won't be like you have like a big patch of just fur ball here and then like a weird bald spot. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. All right. I did get another private message arena. Okay. Anonymous boy in the DMs would like to ask a question. Hey there, Shark. I'm sending this a non-topic. I apologize for clogging up the DMs. Don't worry, friendo. That's why the DMs are open. Granted, this is probably a hard question to answer because there's no common clear answer in our current climate, but how do you find self-worth and happiness in being a man, given how many men have been built on the old lessons and toxic masculinity and the like? How do men feel confident and have strong self-identity in today's cultural zeitgeist? Also, I apologize for this question seeming vague or confusing. No, I think it's a great question. What do you think?
Yeah. Listen, I don't think that men have been demonized to such an extent that you can't be proud of being a dude. It's just, don't be so proud of being a dude that it's your entire personality. That's all that you got to do. If your entire personality is your gender, then you're doing something wrong. You have to be multifaceted, For example, my entire personality when I was first in college, because I was a white guy that didn't know what he was supposed to be in life, right? My entire personality was nerd, right? Because I realized that I liked video games and Dungeons and Dragons, so I better lean into that as hard as I could, as hard as I can. And when I did that, I was really cringy, right? Just like people who make their entire personality being a man or being ultra masculine are incredibly fucking cringy, right? Being able to have multiple different things that you're interested in, right? Like I like video games and I like nerdy shit, but I also like playing music. I like
Mods,
playing
can I get
guitar,
an SO
I like
for
playing,
Sond?
an instrument. I like engaging with people online. I like talking to people, right? I'm decent in conversation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Like, so just being able to be multifaceted, right? And not let that control what your perception of yourself is, right?
Yeah. Learning how to be happy as like who you are and being comfortable in your own skin is probably one of the biggest things that you can do. Lots of guys don't accept their like emotional states. Learning how to accept that the way that you feel, and sometimes if you don't like it that much, that's okay. A lot of guys can get caught up in this like really weird vortex that I've felt before, where I'm not sure if you felt this way before, where it's like you feel sad about something or you're upset about something, but you're upset that you're upset about something, and so you get even more upset because you feel like you shouldn't feel that way, and so you get mad at it, but then you're mad and you're sad and you're moody. You're moody, but you don't want to be moody, and you don't know why necessarily you're moody, and so you get angry because you shouldn't be moody. And not accepting that emotional state can lead you to not only distance yourself from your own emotions, but distance yourself emotionally from other people, and keep like a lot of people at arm's length that you shouldn't be like at all. I remember this when I was with this one girlfriend, and I don't want to like make it too obvious if anybody ever watches this, but we were like hanging out, and I'm a person, I like a lot of like intimacy and like private time with my partner, and recently she'd been hanging out with her like friends a lot more, and so I felt like I wasn't getting that time to be like emotionally intimate like with my partner, just like with us. So I was like hanging out with her and her friend, and they were like playing a game, and I was just like kind of there, and I realized afterwards that in that moment I was moody, and I was upset in that moment, right? And I didn't realize that until like after introspecting on it afterwards. I thought that I was like pretty connected with my emotions and everything, and then I realized that I wasn't as much as I thought. And so instead of like being able to deal with that or talk to my partner and be like, hey, you know what, I know you should be able to hang out with your friends, and that's like a great thing, but you know, I really wish that we had more like time together. Instead of doing that, I stood up and I was like, hey, I'm gonna get out of here. And she was like, are you sure? Like, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. And I just drove home, and I didn't like text her for like a day, which sucks. That sucks that I didn't let her into that emotional state, and I wasn't accepting like my own emotional state there. And I was upset. I was moody, and I noticed that I was moody, and I was upset that I was moody, and I didn't know how to deal with it. So I think that's a really big thing, and you'll feel like a weight just lifted off of your shoulders when you can do that and find your own self-identity.
Yeah. I just think that it largely comes down to being more than what society is expecting of you, right? If the ultra masculine archetype is leading to toxic outcomes, then take the parts of it that are good and leave behind the things that are bad. And I think that in my life, I've largely tried to do that. I would say that for me, I would never not describe myself as a guy, but I don't feel so connected with the gender of man that I'm going to sit there and die on the hill that I have to be like overbearing or like ultra aggressive, right? I've never felt the need to be that way, but I feel like in terms of, being confident in, other masculine traits or traditionally masculine traits, I hold those and enjoy presenting myself in that way, and it makes me happy. So whatever is ultimately what matters is doing what makes you happy. And if you are someone that feels like you're a man and you are and you feel masculine enough to like tell everyone that you're a man, then call yourself a man.
Also,
and don't let
Louis,
anyone tell you that you're toxic for it.
Louis, I'm sorry. You have like a child's definition on masculinity. I will never listen to you when it comes to your takes on masculinity and what men should be. You have literal baby brain. You have just like chud dumb brain when it comes to masculinity, and I fear for any man who thinks like you, because they are stuck on a path of destruction and pain and sadness. I'm sorry, Louis. That's just like what it is. So masculinity is base negative? No one ever said that. There are bad traits in masculinity, just like there are bad traits in femininity that you should leave behind. That's fine. I don't know why you should carry on things that hurt you. I'm sorry. Like my antifreeze is good in my car. My antifreeze is not good in my fucking throat. All right, that's fine. Like antifreeze is good with getting me to work and back. Antifreeze is not good as a snack as I'm on my way to work. There's two completely different things. I remember you talking about masculinity. I remember you talking about this shit. You have a actual child's definition of it and a child's brain. It is sad. Anyways, you want to go on to a new question?
Yeah, let's do one more. Pick the best last one.
Sure.
And I'll just say to Louis, who said that masculinity is base negative. No, there's different aspects. It doesn't. If it started from a base negative, then I wouldn't say.
No, don't time him out.
Yeah, all I would say is if it started from a base negative, then nobody would be masculine, right? It starts from a neutral base, right? And there are things that are built into masculinity societally that are both positive and negative, right? Like if you're completely unable to, express your emotions to anyone, that's a negative thing. If you're so aggressive that you get into fights often, that's a negative thing, right? If you take things that are so negative and then you build those out into the masculinity such that it's affecting you negatively, right? Leave those parts behind and just take all the good parts, right? I feel like I don't think that anyone would ever mistake me for a woman or say that I'm not masculine, right? I'm not. I don't think that it would be possible for them to do that. So I don't think that I'm exhibiting very many negative masculine traits in my life, so it's not base negative, otherwise I wouldn't be it.
Sure. One more question and we can wrap this up. We've been going for a little longer than I expected, but I think it's been a good talk. What do you think?
Yeah, so far, yeah.
Heck yeah. Why do men feel guilt, ashamed, or embarrassed for receiving sex work? Why do men consume porn but shame sex workers at the same time? How do we destigmatize men's views on sex work? You said ask a big one, so.
Okay, so that's oh man, how do we? So starting from the last one, how do we destigmatize sex work? Oh man, if you had that's $1 million question right there. You'd be rich if you were able to write a book about that. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, most things that we talk about destigmatizing are generational things, and it's going to take time. You can't just say, oh man, I want to destigmatize sex work, and then put some kind of policy into a country and then everyone is suddenly chill with sex work. There are countries that have much better policies around sex work than the US does, or most countries in the world do. And people there still look down on sex work, right? It's going to be a long generational process that we're not going to be able to give a solid definitive answer for right now. In terms of why do men feel ashamed of receiving sex work, this I think is a lot easier, right? Because the society at large largely looks down on sex work in the first place. Men that receive sex work, whether it's the full service thing or whether they're just buying pictures or whether they're paying for someone to go on a date with them or whatever different kinds of sex work someone might pay for, they probably feel ashamed because they can't achieve that without paying someone to do it for them, right?
Yeah, you're paying for something that you should be able to get for free. That's the reason that you're paying for it, like that sort of thing.
in a perfect world, maybe we could destigmatize that. I don't know if that would be there might be some amount of shame there that is like positive in utility, right? Maybe it is good that people don't, just default to paying for sex or default to paying for someone to give them emotional closeness for a night, right? Maybe there is better utility in people being able to go around and meet people that they genuinely love and then, have a long-term relationship, right? But what I would say is, can we destigmatize it to the greatest extent possible? Probably, yeah. Why do people feel ashamed? Because they feel like they can't do it themselves, and that sucks. And some people can, and they get the sex work, and that's fine. We just shouldn't shit on those people for doing that. That's like the only answer that I could possibly give.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think it's just like men shame sex work and sex workers. Women shame sex work and sex workers too. If you ask some like random girl what she thinks about a girl with an OnlyFans, she probably doesn't have a lot of good things to say. Or a girl who like sells feet pics, or a girl who like does this or that would like or has like a bunch of sexual partners. She probably, like, that average girl probably won't have good things to say about them either. I've had like some talks about this with I have like a big friend group full of women, and I've like posed this question to them just to see like how they react, and a lot of them they have some pretty chuddy takes. Like let's not be honest, they think they do like look down on girls who do sex work, having OnlyFans, things like that. They do. It's not just men. It's a societal problem, and that's a societal issue that we have to deal with. You can do things like consume porn and like someone only for like them just looking hot, but also think that they're being devalued as a person. And once again, we can get back to the have sex with and date like baskets. Or like folders that we can let lots of guys put people in, where you could be like, oh yeah, dude, Alexis Texas, she's hot as fuck. I met her in a bar, I'd blow her back out. Would I date her? Ew, that's fucking gross. How many dudes have been inside her? Yikes. She's less valuable as a woman. And there would be a lot of other people who would back that sort of like thing up, and that's unfortunate. But that's like a more of a situation that we have to deal with as a society. I don't think that's like a men specific problem. You can say it started as men, or it's like perpetuated more by men, but at the end of the day, it's not. I would
say it's largely perpetuated by women who are judging other women for engaging in sex work.
Yeah,
but but I think it's like deciding who is doing it more is like missing the point entirely.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter, because at that point, this is something that we both have to deal with, that men and women have to deal with, society has to deal with. If one stops but the other doesn't, the problem is going to consist. So it's not like I don't think it's worth like parsing out as in like this groups of people's problem and that groups of people's problem. At the end of the day, I think it's society's problem, and I guess we can that'd be like something else that we can get into at like another point in time. And someone asked us like a final thing: what is toxic femininity? Toxic femininity would be like the I'm not like other girls sort of mentality, like I wear long shirts under my t-shirts, I don't wear sundresses, I don't like pink, like that's like that sort of thing.
I think that I also think there's different kinds of it. I think that the Disney girl, the 30-year-old Disney girl who says that I need to be treated like a princess 100% of the time and is like a super diva and has
my man needs to pay on the first date, like upholding those sorts of like toxic masculinity traits. Like my dude needs to be like super tall and super jacked and be able to like lift and throw your boyfriend. That is also toxic femininity. Sorry, it is.
Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, we could run this down like so many different ways that femininity can be toxic. But I like when I think toxic femininity, I don't. I think immediately of like the girl that like is like the Disney princess girl that like needs like a Prince Charming that has like all these qualities and like forces her husband to do things that he doesn't necessarily want to do, but hold it over his head that like she's a princess, so she has to be treated like super nice. So someone in my chat says Disney adults are a red flag. That is 100% true.
Kind of true.
So yep. So yeah, that's what I would say toxic femininity is. I really like this podcast. I think that we have a pretty decent format here. And I think that the conversations that we're having are probably really important. I like this.
No, yeah, this has been really fun. So In wrap up, I'd like to say thank you everybody who's watched, and thank you everybody who commented. I know a lot of the people who commented really specific questions. That's not a very easy thing to do, so I'd like to put out like a formal thank you, and especially the people who commented anonymously as well. Thank you so much for reaching out. That's not an easy thing to do, and I really appreciate you for opening up your heart for all of us to be able to learn something from, and I hope you all learned something as well. This is so far the Antidote podcast. My name is Shark300, and my amazing co-host Sondsol. You can find us both same links at on Twitch, on YouTube, on Twitter, and everywhere else where you find your favorite streamer boys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the